We are just 7 months out from what will be the most important election in our lifetimes. Because it's so close, news stories, trials, evidence, information, all of it's coming out at a fever pitch. And it's crucial that we stay focused and know exactly what's going on. We're in a battle here for the very democracy of this country. Not for us so much, but for our kids, our grandkids, and our great-grandkids. Now, I talk about a lot of stuff here on TikTok, and hopefully you're able to catch up with me here on TikTok. But with the algorithm and timing and all that sort of stuff, sometimes you may miss some things here on TikTok, and information is of the utmost importance over the next 6 to 7 months. That's why I'd like to invite you to join me on the Rational Boomer podcast. I do a show every day. It's an hour, hour and a half, and we talk about all the things that I talked about on TikTok and maybe even more. Now, I want you to understand, I want you to come to the podcast, but it's not just me pontificating, because the listeners of the podcast are just as important as I am. In every podcast, I read a number of emails coming from the listeners. Fact is, if you're listening to the show and you send me an email, I'll guarantee you I will read it. I will read every email because what my listeners say is absolutely important. This is a group effort. It's not just me. And if you're a particularly brave listener, you can come on the show, be a guest, and we can interact that way. That's why I want you to check in with the Rational Boomer podcast. It's very easy to find. You go to rationalboomer.com. If you want to hear just audio on the podcast, there's a link. You hit it, and you're listening. If you'd rather have the video and audio version, all you have to do is go to YouTube, search Rational Boomer, and you'll find it. And on YouTube, you'll get the TikToks and the podcast. As I said, we're fighting here for the democracy of this country. And we're not fighting so much because of us. We're old and we'll get through. But we've got kids and grandkids and future great-grandkids. When we're gone, we don't want to leave them a mess. We don't want to leave this place worse off than when we found it. So again, I'm encouraging you to check in with the Rational Boomer podcast. But don't just listen. I want you to participate too, because what you think is important, what we all think is important, and it's important that we come together because we've got quite a battle between now and November. We're going to fucking win, but let's get together and make sure we win big.